Do you believe in miracles? A miracle can be defined as an extraordinary event not explicable by scientific or natural laws, something that no one thought was possible. But we're all taught to never say never, to always believe in a positive outcome. Well, Teachville 11's Erica Ferrando and photojournalist Bree Conyers traveled to Baltimore, Maryland to bring us the story of a walking miracle from Pottsville, Arkansas.
Miracles happen every day.
1,000 miles from home in Baltimore, Maryland.
You just stay down and go side to side.
Something as simple as a ball toss for this high school athlete.
You gotta keep going.
Now means more than ever.
I thought my life was over.
June 15th, 2018, 17-year-old Drake Manus dove into a swimming pool at his girlfriend's like he had countless times before.
He wasn't moving his legs, his arms, and so I was like, okay, something's really wrong. So I dove in and I grabbed him and I had him like a baby, and he instantly spit out water and looked at me and was like, "Sydney, I'm paralyzed, please don't let me die."
When I hit the bottom, I just immediately knew I was paralyzed.
And that was really the first thing I told him in the ambulance. Start praying, Drake, right now, and you're gonna be all right.
Airlifted to Arkansas Children's, Drake suffered a broken neck and spinal cord injury. It was a freak accident. Doctors delivering the news to his parents he'd never walk again.
We've got to get him into surgery right now, and Drake's probably never going to move the neck down. And I pretty much lost it at that point. I just hit my knees.
It was hard. It was really hard. And you're just scared.
But this family decided to fight. A month later, taking their battle to an institute known for spinal cord injury.
You didn't give up.
No.
Drake and his family arrived to their destination at the Kennedy Krieger Institute here in Baltimore, but their journey to recovery was just beginning.
Go deeper, come on, go, push.
When he got here,
He couldn't stand on his own.
We were basically holding him, pushing him into a chair.
he began 6 hours of therapy every day, still with an uncertain future.
It was catastrophic and thought to be permanent paralysis.
Dr. Suzanne Rupczynski, head of inpatient rehabilitation, remained optimistic, but not even she could have expected this.
Yeah, come here.
He far exceeded our expectations.
Nearly 2 months after the accident,
I knew he would the whole time.
he was back on his feet, taking major steps.
He was like, "Are we really gonna do this?" And we had 2 people with us, and he needed lots of support, but he did it.
The best thing about his recovery has really been the 2 to 3 day story. Today, he's walking with a harness on and 2 or 3 people holding him. Tomorrow, no harness and a walker.
Their steps his medical team couldn't have predicted.
No, to be honest with you, I didn't, because with that type of injury that Drake had, usually people don't progress this quickly.
But steps this family had been praying for.
Just faith. We just prayed every day and kept our faith.
It's all God.
Yep, without a doubt, it's God.
Just seeing a little toe wiggle would brighten everyone's day, and then now he gets up and dances.
Since walking wasn't enough,
You gotta get faster.
4 months after the accident, he's showing progress even through the Kiki Challenge.
Drake just has that natural charisma to him, and he's always had that. I would say maybe it's stronger now.
Watching the recovery before our eyes,
It just amazes everybody.
He has a very strong will, and he's a very healthy, fit, strong guy, and I think that helped him greatly.
steps that can't be justified
I can't explain it.
are explained by this family as intervention from above.
Not just prayers to fix things spiritually, but God gave the doctors the brain that they have to work on Drake, and the nurses that he's had to treat him, and us the ability to make decisions to get him to the best place for the care that he needed.
Actually, he's a walking miracle. For him to be where he's at now, it's amazing.
Because sometimes even a simple ball toss
Nice.
and a step
There you go.
are miracles before our eyes.
Never give up and just keep your faith.
All right, we got to join him.
Oh yeah, everyone in. Come on, come on.
In Baltimore, Erica Ferrando, THV 11 News.
It took me a while to learn this, though.
You may have noticed Drake still has a tracheostomy in his throat to help his airway, which will require more surgery back home. Continuing his journey, find out what's next for Drake and what he wants others to learn from his story.
Yeah, part 2 of A Walking Miracle airs tomorrow night at 10, and I cannot wait to see it. I mean, it's just amazing to see all the progress he's made. I mean, the floss and the Kiki challenge, he's doing that better than some of us.
Well, and we've seen it from day one, from the accident and how the community turned out, and you have to wonder how much of an impact that community had on his ability to recover. The momentum they gave him, that they gave that family.
Yeah, he seems like a strong kid, though.
Got the whole state on his side.
Hard not to believe in a miracle after seeing that.
A Pottsville teenager being called a walking miracle is finally home.
And last night, we shared the remarkable story of Drake Manis, who, after a freak swimming accident in June, was told he'd never walk again. Well, now, 4 months later, he's walking, playing ping pong, and dancing.
And THV 11's Erica Ferrando and photojournalist Bree Conyers went to Baltimore to bring us this story.
4 months after a swimming accident.
So happy that Drake is going home.
No one could have predicted Drake Manis' last day of therapy at Kennedy Krieger Institute here in Baltimore would look like this.
A few months later, hardly ever do you see him walk out.
This summer, he dove into a pool about 5 feet deep. Paralyzed from the neck down, doctors said he'd never walk again. For Drake, that was even more reason to fight for a miracle.
Nice.
He just keeps fighting, keeps progressing.
Never has complained.
No, hasn't complained one time.
Dr. Suzanne Rybczynski at Kennedy Krieger.
You really can't tell what is going on in the spine until you start moving and trying to start recovery.
Was optimistic when he got here.
But we were also planning for the worst case scenario that he might be in a wheelchair.
His medical team crediting how his injury was immediately handled.
They held that neck stable.
His girlfriend, her family, and paramedics stabilized him in the water.
They held him there. And, you know, that has a huge impact on his recovery as well, that it didn't tear or sever his spinal cord. Most of that happens from being moved after you have a neck injury.
Preparing to head home, Dr. Rybczynski expects him to lead a normal life.
This is pretty extraordinary. The degree of recovery from total paralysis from the neck down, and being on a ventilator and not being able to breathe on his own, to being up and active without that support is amazing.
Kennedy Krieger Institute here in Baltimore has been Drake's home for the past 3 months. Now, after so much progress, he's ready to continue recovery back home in Arkansas.
His tracheostomy and airway will require more surgery back home.
I'm ready for it, but it's also scary. It's just weird going to be home with the trach and then going back to school. It's been so long.
A school that's shown overwhelming support, holding multiple fundraisers even with rival football teams, plus a support Facebook page with 4,500 likes.
He had so much great support from his family and community that it's not surprising he did so well.
Drake wants others to know the power of community and prayer.
Getting closer to God and bringing the community together just like we have.
Even to other patients and family members within the gym, to see someone doing so well, it gives everyone that hope that we want.
Now as he walks out of the Ronald McDonald House that's been his family's home for 3 months and gets ready to go back to school in Pottsville,
We're going to try to.
he rings the good news bell. This walking miracle is good news indeed.
He's one of those patients I'll never forget.
In Baltimore, Erica Ferrando, THV 11 News.
And Drake is meeting with doctors in Arkansas about repairing his airway and removing his tracheostomy. They're hoping to have it removed within the year.
Wow, it's such an incredible story. He is definitely a fighter.
Well, and I wonder too, I've asked this about football. He played football.
Right.
He knew how to push himself. It was part of who he was growing up and being in high school, and that physical commitment I wondered if it carried over. We'll know, I'm sure, when he gets back home. And now that he's
I
back
think
home,
so.
we can talk.
I bet it had something to do with it, that they're all fighters, and he's certainly one, and we can learn a lot from him.
Yeah.
If we think we got it bad, look what he's done.
I mean, in the community, gosh, the support that they've shown him has been great.